Hello, everyone. Hi, Ollie.
Hi, Marcos. Nice to see you again.
Likewise, likewise. So this week we are doing another of our little Q&A series, a short Q&A video.
Yes,
So, Ollie, I think you had a student question.
I did, and I will paraphrase it for you. And it's basically one of these ones. As you know, that the zodiac signs divide up the body, and the question was basically, according to people like Culpeper and Lilly, who are both, 17th century astrologers,
Yeah.
very classic astrologers, the lungs are ruled by Cancer because they're in the chest.
Hmm.
But a lot of modern day authors, if you read their books, and no names, will actually put the lungs in Gemini. And I'm guessing this is because kind of they start right in the shoulders, and Gemini is an air sign that kind of fit in with the lungs. And so the question was, which is right? So, Marcos, go for it.
Okay. I mean, first of all, neither Ollie nor I are the definitive authorities on
No.
these things. So we are open to discussion and possibly debate on these things. Can be a debate if you want it to be, otherwise, it can be a discussion. Anyway, my personal opinion is that I would tend to err on the side of the more traditional authorities on this one. So Lilly and his predecessors, Culpeper and their predecessors, who are mainly sort of medieval sources and earlier Hellenic sources, but even they do vary a bit. You know, some ancient sources say Venus rules the lungs, the planet Venus. But anyway, the point is here that generally speaking, those medieval and Renaissance sources agree that the planet Jupiter symbolizes the lungs and the liver,
Right.
and the sign Cancer is associated with the lungs. And I think the reason I would agree with that is because of the geographical assignation of the signs in the zodiac man, the zodiac maleficia. You know, so
Yes.
Leo and Cancer are associated with the central sort of the torso bit of the body,
Definitely. Yeah.
and Leo was said to rule the heart and the spine and the ribs, and Cancer was all the squishy bits inside the spot inside that, except
Yeah.
for the heart, which
Yeah.
Leo ruled. So basically, Cancer was the stomach and the lungs and the liver. Now, the two planets that are strongest in the sign Cancer are the Moon and Jupiter. The
Yeah.
Moon is the ruler of Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. What planets are associated with those? What sign? What parts of the body are associated with those planets? That would be the Moon would be the stomach, as well
Yeah.
as the bowel and the brain and a couple of other bits. And Jupiter is the liver and the lungs.
Yeah.
So to me, it's pretty much a no brainer that the sign Cancer is associated with the lungs. That said, I know that Gemini is the arms, shoulders, and hands in the zodiac man, and the top of the shoulders here, that's the apices of the lungs are
Yes.
under the between the sort of collarbones here. So the tips of the lungs might share some, you know, they spread out into Gemini
Into
from
Gemini,
Cancer.
yeah. So if you specifically like there was some problem with the tips of the lungs,
Yeah,
so
the apice, the top of the
yeah,
lungs. Yeah, so absolutely, these things. I think as I've said before, I don't think the signs here have hard boundaries. I don't think you can say, you know, this sign is absolutely entirely this organ. I think they're geographically approximate. You know,
yes,
but if you're going to put most of an organ into a sign, that there usually is some sort of rationale for that.
agreed.
But I do see the point of those authors saying that Gemini being an air sign, you know, I can totally see their point about having something to do with gaseous exchange, perhaps. Um, and it's interesting because traditional authors would say that Mercury doesn't rule the lungs. Mercury rules the nerves and what was called the animal. Was the animal spirits or the animal virtue? I can't remember. Is it?
I think it's the animal spirit, but
I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's the animal spirit, isn't it? Because
I
it's
think it is.
vital, natural, and animal
Yeah,
spirit.
exactly.
Yes,
Yes,
yes. Just couldn't dredge that up. But yeah, Mercury is the animal spirit, which means in modern terms, animal meaning animation, the ability of the body to move. So nerves, basically, neurological function. So
yes,
both in the brain and distributed elsewhere. Mercury is the communicator. So Mercury is the nervous system, and then it's Mercury's the appendages, the hands and the feet and the
Which
arms and
then
the
down
legs.
within, yeah, which, you know,
Yeah,
our hands
but
are the main way we move things around, you know, in our environment.
manipulate. That's a
Manipulate.
Mercury word. Yes, yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, totally.
So I
Um,
think Mercury really has plenty attributed it to already, sort of thing.
yes,
So we don't really need to give it the lungs. It's not as if it doesn't have a lot of stuff.
no, but the interesting thing was that Mercury, if you read the diseases associated with Mercury, particularly like in Culpeper, I think he talks about it being associated with catarrh and with asthma and with coughs.
Right,
So, and we know that in particularly asthma, there's a huge neurological component. You know,
right.
the drugs that are given for it are nervous system, you know, adrenergic drugs to stimulate the nervous system and so on. So so I think where he was coming from with that was that Mercury is opposite to Jupiter. So, you know,
Right, yes.
it's kind of like,
There's
oh,
some
this
tension
planet's
there, yeah.
causing trouble because Mercury is opposite to Jupiter. But I suspect that some modern authors have taken that to mean that, oh, he's talking about Mercury to do with the diseases of the lungs, therefore Mercury rules the lungs. And I think,
It's more to
I
do with
don't think that was the
activity.
logic
Yeah,
behind that.
yeah, no,
But
agreed.
I can see, and you mentioned this last time, Ollie, about how because Mercury rules tiny little pathways
Yes,
in
yeah,
general, maybe it has some rulership over the little the alveoli and the
right.
bronchioles in the lungs, like the
Interesting.
little fine pathways,
Yeah,
just as it would with capillaries and little fine blood vessels and stuff.
yes.
So that that's to say, I think I would err on the traditional side, but that I don't think they're flat wrong with the modern assignation.
We can
And as I
understand
preamble
why,
this with, we're not
but
the final
if
word.
in doubt, we would, well, I would recommend go with cancer. But like
Yeah.
if like you're looking at a decumbrature or a natal chart and you think, oh, actually, you know, they've got lung problems, and that's kind of indicated by something in Gemini, you might think, well, maybe there's something, but then think more about maybe the upper lungs, maybe about issues with the alveoli along those terms, nervous issues of the lungs rather than anything
Yes.
else. And again, so it's just all to do with pinpointing.
It is, and in practice, obviously, you know, the my triage when interpreting charts, and we're getting into the weeds a little bit here, is house, then planet, then sign in terms of
Right.
body part in that order of priority. Reason being, the rulership of the houses, which is just the angles of the chart. If you don't know astrology well, then that's like literally the horizon, the middle of the sky, the opposite horizon, so the ascendant where the sun rises, the descendant where it sets, the middle of the sky, the midday sun and the midnight sun, those positions. That the sky is divided up into 12 based on those angles, basically. But the houses, because they change so quickly, you know, within every 24 hours, you get the full rotation of the houses. They're going to be more specific to that individual circumstance. And
Yes.
then, secondly, you'll get the planets, depending on the planets. The moon changes sign every couple of days, Saturn every 2.5 years, but and then the signs are, in a sense, the most static. So it is important to know what sign is associated with what body part. But in a chart, if I was looking for the lungs, I would look for the fourth house.
Exactly.
And
But
then I would look at Jupiter as being the natural ruler of the lungs. And finally, I would look at Cancer. So, yeah.
brilliant. Well, I hope that's answered your question, and I hope that you are looking or listening to this broadcast. So thank you,
Yeah.
Marcos.
Thank you very much, Ollie. That's a really good student question. So, thanks, guys. And if you like this, please like it, share it, do all the things. And if you haven't had a look at our site, our little school of medical astrology, we still only, at the time of filming, have one module up, but many, many more are coming, we promise. So, if you want to study and learn medical astrology, take a look. The link is below. So, thank you very much. See you next
Till
time.
next time. Bye
Bye.
bye.